Euphoria seems to have everything going for it. Zendaya, an ensemble cast with quite an enchanting aesthetic, plotlines that deepen Zendaya's character, some leftover dialogues thrown the other characters' way, and of course, Zendaya. Except for one thing, none of the characters, even as they brawl with each other or sleep with each other's partners, have the gravitas of the original teenage show queen. We are obviously talking about Vanessa Hudgens' Gabriela Montez. That is, until now. First up, Vanessa Hudgens joins the cast of Euphoria in interesting avatar. Well, sort of. Hudgens appeared in an MTV Movie and TV Awards 2022 sketch as the character Sydney Sweeney in her infamous bathroom scene. As viewers of the show might recall, the scene's crucial for Sydney. She has just ousted her best friend as the girlfriend of the show's most abusive jock and is now shedding her old skin like a reptile. As anyone who's been in the situation would tell you, what a girl needs most in this situation is, you guessed it, a makeover. In the show, Sydney comes to school dressed, unbeknownst to her, dressed like someone from the annual school theater production Oklahoma. Rue, Maddie, and Kat quickly point out that in her powder blue peasant top and pleated skirt, she looks at least like someone cosplaying as an Oklahoma character. Sydney, with no knowledge of the musical, she doesn't hang out with the theater nerds, doubles down in the defense of her wardrobe. She presses her friends for more details on the play and then, in a painful moment, unravels. Vanessa takes the bit a step further in her MTV spoof. She dons Sydney's outfits and shows up in the bathroom and begins belting out "What a Beautiful Morning" from the musical. When Rue asks if she is auditioning for the play, Vanessa is aloof about its existence. She then quickly pulls out a cowboy hat, introspectively looks into the distance and says no partner at all while denying that she has even heard of Oklahoma. So then, does she admit? We know what everyone is curious about. In real Sydney's case, when the questions about her wardrobe had grown stronger around her, she'd broken down and admitted that she and Nate are in love with each other before shrieking that she's never ever been happier. Convincing. Vanessa as Sydney, too, buckles under pressure. As the insistence of those around her grows more dogged, Vanessa as Sydney grows more erratic. Finally, she admits that she just wanted to be on the show with the Euphoria kids because they are so iconic. This prompts Maddie to deliver her iconic "bitch, you better be joking" line. Come to think of it though, Vanessa Hudgens could be a great addition to the next season. She is good looking, always dressed to the nines, and after her foot-and-mouth COVID moment, where she famously suggested that we could do away with COVID restrictions even if people die because, well, that's what they do, she knows how to stir up the right amount of drama. If anything, this could be good news for anyone who is in the fandoms of both Euphoria and High School Musical. This may seem funny, but isn't so far-fetched. Like many adults pushing 30, Hudgens seems to be really invested in the show. Later in the show, she offered her take on which was the definitely better teen show. Now for Vanessa's verdict, Euphoria or High School Musical? Now, many would say this is an unfair comparison. The worst thing the otherwise sweet kids in the HSM franchise did was terrorize classmates with impromptu performances. Euphoria kids regularly beat each other up, scheme murders, pray for each other's downfall, and do extremely public and well-executed call-outs. But even as a completely different show, Euphoria hasn't been able to escape the shadow of its predecessor. Vanessa knows this too. This was perhaps also why she offered her own 2 cents on this rivalry as she hosted the MTV Awards. She pointed out that the students of East Highland High, the school from Euphoria, are nothing like the students of East High, the school from HSM. Yes, this was confusing for us too. Case in point, there's a lot more hair pulling, way more cleavage, and, well, not as much singing in East Highland High. That's the school from Euphoria, unlike East High, which is the High School Musical high school. Are you keeping track? Good. The event may have quite some good-natured, we hope, potshots at the show, but it never denied the mastery the show has had over its format. Up next, Euphoria wins big at the MTV Awards. 4 popcorn trophies in total, actually. Zendaya won in the category of Best Performance. No surprises there. In a pre-recorded video message, Zendaya thanked the awards and audiences for the love they had shown Euphoria. Aw, we are pretty sure Zendaya mines this sweetness to soften the edges of her character Rue. Her co-star Sydney Sweeney was also nominated in the same category. Lucky for Sydney, though, though, she also took home 2 awards on behalf of the show. The Best Show, we called it, you will have to take our word on this, and Best Fight. Again, who is surprised? The iconic, as Vanessa Hudgens would say, the fight was one of the most memorable scenes from the past season. Of course, Maddie, cheered on by her friends, had the last word, or the punch, according to Sweeney. But as she assured the audience, Cassie's never ever been happier, a tiny bit more convincing this time, we think. And now for other news. Starting with Zendaya opens up about the harrowing process behind that Euphoria episode. Yes, that one. We don't want to spoil it for you guys, but just as a small recap, this is when Rue's steady flow of substances is turned off. Quickly, her facade of a high-functioning addict crumbles. After screaming spitefully at her family and a lover, Rue runs off from home in a fit of despair. She ends up at close friend Cassie's house next, where she exposes her relationship with Nate and takes advantage of the chaos that erupts in the exposé's wake to take off with some jewelry from the household. Next, she makes a beeline to Fez's house. The dealer, who is generally sympathetic to Rue, loses his cool when she tries to steal his grandma's medicine and kicks her out. Rue's long-winded descent into darkness was hard to watch, partly because it didn't feel like acting at all. This is exactly what Andrew Garfield pointed out in the Variety studio. Actors on actors. He was unreserved in his praise of her, saying this episode is the most remarkable thing any actor has done lately, and asked her about the process that went into her craft. Zendaya was candid in her response. There was actually no process. As she said, she has been living under Rue's skin for some time and can recognize what makes her tick and explode. Ultimately, though, she mined the collective pain she and show creator Sam Levinson had and saw it through the eyes of an addict. Zendaya's too shy to admit this, so let us say it. Someone really has to be an acting powerhouse to stitch all these things together. Next, Sydney Sweeney brings back low-rise skirts at the MTV Award. Okay, and send it back. No, seriously, every 6 months, someone tries to resuscitate some of the most demonic trends from our most unfortunate fashion era, the 2000s. It would still be okay if this was limited to TikTok teens bringing back metallic eyeshadow. Don't worry, they have an entire life to regret their decisions. Now, Sydney Sweeney is engaging in what can only generously be described as bullying. She showed up at the MTV Movie and TV Awards in a low-rise, midriff-bearing skirt. It was a rhinestone-encrusted skirt to really throw us back to the 2000s. Sydney herself is a gorgeous girl, so she is allowed to occasionally be a little insane with what she wears. But the rest of us can simply not follow suit. None of us are 13 anymore. Many of us have lower back pain. Hell, sometimes our wrists hurt if we write too much. At this ripe age, it is simply impossible for anyone to care about a skirt that will for sure slide down to our thighs. Nice move, Sydney, but our resolve is strong. And finally, is Jacob Elordi next in line to be Superman? Honestly, we can see it. The somewhat wooden face, those broad shoulders, the urge to protect people around himself? Okay, maybe not the last one, but there is no reason to think Jacob Elordi, who's so convincingly transformed into the reviled, tortured character of Nate Jacobs, cannot don the fabulous red cape of Superman 2. The idea has grown stronger in the fandom after the Warner Brothers and Discovery merger. Word on the streets is that the higher-ups want to change things up with Superman, who has been overshadowed recently by ensemble superhero films. The shakeup might also mean that Henry Cavill is ousted from his current role as Superman. Jacob Elordi's name has been thrown around since as a potential successor to Cavill. As someone who has experimented with his roles, Elordi might just be the right person to bring a sense of tortured heroism to the next installment. And that's a wrap. Thanks for watching. Which one is your favorite? Do you like the saccharine nostalgia of HSM? Or do you think our East High stars should move over and make space for new shows like Euphoria? As always, hit like if you liked our video and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on future uploads. We'll see you in the next one.